What up YouTube, Topaz Yates back for another review, and this one is to that Dreamville, Revenge of the Dreamers 3, and I'm gonna give it the low end yellow light because I like a lot about it, but yet really there's no songs to be taken away from this, you did, because it is exactly as I thought it would be for those of you who've been watching the videos this week, man, because this week has been nothing but Dreamville because that's all that really has been dropping, you did. But yet, I said in the earlier videos that what J. Cole did with this and how he filmed it and recorded it and all that, like that is 10 times more epic than the music that will ever come out of this. And that tends to be true here because the music is just aight at best. Because when you look at, you know, getting all of these individual acts to come through and record for 10 days. As I've been showing all my rapper cousins and stuff this video that's been coming in town, man, for the 4th of July. And they've all got excited like, man, if I was ever in there, man, how I would have ran it. I would have been in all those songs, man. I would have had so much fun. I'm like being a kid in the candy factory and all of that stuff. Like, this was truly something that if there's success to be had from it, record labels and other individuals are going to try to find a way to mess it up. But J. Cole has created a whole nother avenue with this one, man. And usually the first ones to do such a thing is never any good. It's usually just the idea for someone later to come around and perfect it. And that seems to be exactly what this is. But when it comes down to the music, the same fundamental mistakes that you see in the same projects as, say, DJ Khaled's and all the other DJs and stuff that throw together compilations, you hear all of those same exact issues, but yet it's so much lesser because you actually have individuals in the lab together. You're actually getting a good diversity of types of songs here. Like, usually when you get a whole bunch of rappers like this all thrown in one, they're all going to try to create the same kinds of songs over and over and over. But yet, that's not what happened here. You got some actual concepts to be had here. You got some R&B. You got a lot of variety to be had on this project. So it's definitely a step above from most. But yet you're not getting the hits, in which the hits is really the most important thing. And to be real with you, I believe that it all kind of went downhill from J. Cole's whole vision on what he perceived this project needed to be. Because if you go back to the documentary where J. Cole checks his producer and he tells him, like, look, the types of music that you need to be cooking up, it needs to be more on the jazzy chords, but it's off-kiltered like Phil. And take that for what you will, but when you listen to the music, that's exactly the direction that a lot of this production ultimately went in. And my issue with that is why? You gathered all of these creative individuals from producers to engineers, to rappers, to all come into this one area to be super creative, to create new music. Why are you limiting it into this direction because you think that the Dreamville project has to have this particular sound? Like, why can't you just say, give me the best that you got? I don't care if you got lo-fi mixed with hyphy. If it's a banging beat, give me that. You dig? Don't limit it in that direction. And I know there's plenty of people out there that claim to be quote unquote real hip hop heads, and the music that's getting presented here is seemingly directed towards them. You feel me? But at the end of the day, a hit is a hit. Anybody will appreciate it no matter which side of the hip-hop fits that you on. So why try to limit and eliminate the possibility of a hit because you want the production to go in one particular way? But before we go ahead and jump into these particular songs that I'm about to touch on, man, realize I've already touched on 5 individual songs off of this project. So if you want a better understanding of how I felt about this project, man, you can see I made reviews for the Lambo Truck, the Costa Rica, that Middle Child, the Got Me, and that Down Bad. But there's only really 2 songs off this project that I considered for my playlist because they have a pretty good vibe as the jazzy direction that J. Cole wanted to go in. These two songs personified it to a degree that it actually came out pretty good. Where the first one would be PTSD, where the basic concept of this is individuals talking about the past or how they came up, and they're talking about how they struggled to come up, leading to PTSD. Now, for those of you who don't know, that's post-traumatic stress disorder, and a lot of people that join the military and see a lot of gruesome stuff, they tend to come home and have this. But I like the concept because it definitely offers the ability for everybody to speak about what they've gone through individually and give them their own creativity to rap. And each individual has their moments. Like how Mariba, I believe that's how you pronunciate the name, said that you the missing piece, so there's no peace when I sleep. See, I've been trying to practice peace, but now I'm going to sleep with my peace. Simplistic wordplay all centered around the word peace, but that's easily the best that he had. The rapper Deontay, he did his thing on this, man. Well, it's not so much like bars, but it was more of just facts. Like how he said, yo, I got dead people living through me. And I don't mean that literally. I mean people who gave up on their dream. Now, that is a bar. Because, like, that's something that a lot of people who strive to be a success at anything, they tend to experience, because there's going to be people around you that's going to try to run with you, but eventually they fall off. But yet, you'll have so much love for these individuals that you will feed them life as you continue to climb in order so they can be along with you for the ride, you dig? But really, the best bars came from Omen on this track, as my favorite would probably be, like, he's off the off-beaten path, like Blueface. Like a slight jab at Blueface, who's the rapper, the Thotiana rapper, who cannot rap on beat to save his life, and that's what he's saying. But yet the off-beaten path is the path that people never go to because it's a very difficult path. Didn't really like that outro like that, but I will say this was one of the more solid songs of this project. The next song that I considered for my playlist would be Sacrifices, which these are like the last two songs of the entire project, where the concept of this was simplistic. Individuals making sacrifices to do what they gotta do in order to survive, to find their own success, things of that nature, as everybody is going in their own direction on this one as well. Like, say, Johnny Venus, who's not a very good lyricist by no means, but his creativity was something to be had on this, because what he did for his second verse was he panned out like each word that he was spitting in each direction, you feel me? But he was saying it with his flow to actually make it get kind of hype, you did? Even though he's not saying too much of anything, but yet his creativity of how he said it is something that individuals need to learn from. Because in a lot of cases, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Then the artist Samino, if that's how you pronunciate his name, man, well, he says some interesting things, like how he's good for the arch, like he's Dr. Scholl's, as he's from St. Louis, where St. Louis got the arch. So he's saying he's good for the city, just like Dr. Scholl's, the brand of insoles for your shoes, is there to keep your arch that you have on your feet up. Now, I will probably say that Saba probably had the best verse off of this one here, dude. Especially when he's saying things like, yo, if we not related, then I just simply can't relate. Like, simplistic, yes, but that's dope though. Because if you're not directly related to him, I can't relate to anything that you saying, bruh. Now, J. Cole didn't go in the direction of trying to spit bars on this. He was more focused on real talk. But he did have a moment in there, like how he said he tossed out his dreams like it's the Royal Rumble. But maybe the best parts of his verse was the real talk. Like when he was talking about how when you climb up with power, individuals never check you anymore. Like, pretty much, because people want something from you, because people want to continue to ride with you, they're not going to call you out on your nonsense. They're not going to call you out when you're struggling and things of that nature. And that is what it is. You feel me? Like, a lot of people is trying to eat around you instead of being your friend and saying some actual real stuff. And those type of people you always gotta watch out for, because it becomes more of a yes man kind of thing. Overall, a solid song, as these two songs are the most solid songs of the entire project, man. But neither of them are good enough to actually make my playlist. But I did want to touch on a few other songs like 1993, because the creativity of that was pretty cool. Like, they're calling it 1993 because it's more of a cypher track like you would see from back in 1993 with Wu-Tang and things of that nature, you did, where people would just go in and rap. But yet I like the direction with it, as the production has that 1993 like vibe to it as well. But the ultimate concept of this is just a smoke cipher. The just passing around the weed, but yet they can't help but to rap while they're all there. And they're really just trying to smoke. But yet, because they're rappers and because they're there, like, we might as well make a cipher out of everything. And the best ball to come out of it though was J. Cole, where he said, yo, all you dudes out here ain't got no guts like the swisher that we just smoked. And I mean, that's not a very high bar either, but yet that was probably the best. And the last song that I'm gonna have time to talk about on this, man, would be the Self-Love, because I just like what they is talking about on this, where the basic concept is, you know, the best love to have is loving yourself. And this is something that you hear all the time, like a cliche. Like, how can you love somebody else if you ain't love yourself? And that has a lot of truth to it, you dig? But then they undercut it by saying, your love that you give me is like the most dangerous drug. So pretty much, like, the love that you have for everybody else though can affect the love that you have for yourself, but yet you push so hard for those individual people, which that's real. As I did enjoy the vibe to a degree, man, but these songs were clearly a step below the first two songs that I was talking about, man. And the rest of the songs, as I said, have highlights. There are actually some pretty strong stuff throughout pretty much all of the songs to be had here. I wouldn't be able to point at one particular song and say everything about that song is garbage. But yet, none of the songs really strike me on the level of this is a must-have. And that's what you need to be seeking out in this day and age of the music, man, because there's so much stuff getting released all the time that if you're not seeking out the best and you're making justifications and coming up and copping pleas for individuals because it's J. Cole, because it's Dreamville, because you enjoy these individuals that's featured in there, from T.I. to you name them, Vince Staples and all that. When you start coming up with excuses for them for not creating music that's on a caliber that's equal to the best stuff that's been coming out, and we're talking Anderson .Paak, we're talking the new Rick Ross song that I didn't even get a chance to review from this week, which that was fire. If it can't compete with that, then it is what it is. But still, definitely peep it out if you haven't already, man. I'm giving this joint a 4 out of 10 for the creativity and everything around it. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can follow me at Twitter up there. And you can go to downloadpass.com, that's down there, to read today's article.